Okay, now we're at chapter 13 of the Revelation to John. Okay, we talked. You know what we talked about already? How it started. Um, it was Satan's intent to kill Jesus Christ, and because of the things that he did and attempted to do and was successful in doing, there was a war in heaven, and he was cast down along with his angels to earth. And the woman clothed with the son that's married, and she was with child, which was Jesus the Christ. And the beast is the dragon is Satan, who was waiting to kill him. They use the word devour him. All right, now, so let's go to chapter 13. Then I saw on the sand of the sea, I saw a beast coming up out of the sea. When you hear stuff like beast coming up out of the sea, you're talking about a kingdom, a government, of coming out of the sea of people. There arose a government, a system. Okay, we're talking about a system, a kingdom, a government. All right. Then I stood on the sand of the sea. I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, a government or system, having 10 horns and 7 heads. As I said, now we look at 7 heads. We're again looking at kings or kingdoms, and horns. They are people of authority also, but they do not have a kingdom yet. But they have the opportunity to become kings as well, because they are high authority as well. They're up there. Okay, like a vice president. You know what I mean? Like a vice president. So, king, like a president. Horn, like a vice president. Okay? People like that. Now, then I stood on the sand of the sea. I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads. Okay, so we're talking about 7 kings, 7 presidents, 7 people of very high authority, not just one. Okay, a prime minister, what have you. And having 10 horns, could be vice presidents, generals, people like that have high power. All right. So let's go. Then I stood on the sand of the sea. I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads. On his horns were 10 crowns. So that's the people of authority. The crown, the crown, you're more authority. Having 10 crowns. So the 10 horns, the people of high authority, they had crowns. So they were of great authority. But they weren't kings yet. On his horns were 10 crowns, and on his head blasphemous names. So in this case, on his head blasphemous names. So it was looking at the kingdom. Their motto, their purpose, their objective was against God. It was blasphemous. All right, or in their minds, in their minds, there was blasphemous things. So on his head, blasphemous names. So that's what they stood for. The kings, the people of high authority, they were against God. Basically what it's saying. The beast, which I saw, was like a leopard, and his feet were like those of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. So it's just describing the character of this person, what type of person we're dealing with. All right. Was the beast which I saw was like a leopard, and his feet were like those of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him power. Watch that. The dragon, so now that's Satan. Satan gave him, the beast, his power, also his throne and great authority. So as I said, he's talking about, when we talk about crown and stuff like that, that's more authority. That's power. Power after power on top of power. So Satan gave this to him. The dragon gave him his power, his throne and great authority. One of his heads looked like it had been wounded fatally. Now, you say one of his heads, so one of the kings or one of the presidents or one president, see the beast is the system, and it has president, people in charge. One of his heads is our president. Another head is another president. But one of his heads looked like it had been wounded fatally. So let's see. For example, Trump. He was president before. He tried it again, and he lost. So when he lost, then you're looking at he was wounded. He felt like he was treated wrongly. He felt like it was fixed and everything. So he was wounded in that sense. His countenance had fallen. So he was wounded in his mind, spiritually wounded or physically wounded, however he wanted to describe it, but he was wounded because his ego was, these people are arrogant. So his pride, he lost his pride, was, he was so prideful, and so he felt like, he should have won it, and it was not given to him. He didn't. He was supposed to be the president, but he lost. So and that's the way that was. He lost. So and he felt like he was treated wrongly. All right. Now, so say one of his heads, let's say Trump, one of his heads looked like it had been wounded fatally. His fatal wound was healed. Now, because the next time around, he became president, didn't he? He's our president now, isn't he? So the next time around, now, he felt like he was wrongly, let's say his throne was taken away from him by Biden, okay? His throne was taken away from him by Biden. But he got it back when he went against Kamala Harris. So he got it back. So his wound was healed once he got it back from Kamala Harris. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's the way that goes. So, I don't feel sorry for him. The dragon gave him power, his throne, and great authority. One of his heads looked like it had been wounded fatally. Trump lost the election. His fatal wound was healed. He won the next election. And the whole earth marveled at the beast, which is the system, the government, Congress. They worshiped the dragon because he gave his authority to the beast. Satan, again, gave his authority to the beast. Let's say in the form of the Congress giving their authority, which seemed like the a legislative branch and the executive branch gave their authority to the legislative branch and the judicial branch gave their authority to the executive branch. That would have seemed like they gave their authority to him, right? So they worshiped the dragon because he gave his authority to the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him? You guys want to start war with everybody, right? Now who is able to make war with him? A mouth speaking great things and blasphemy was given to him. Like saying that God appointed me to save the world. That's blasphemous, They worship the dragon because he gave his authority to the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him? I'm at verse 5, chapter 13. A mouth speaking great things and blasphemy was given to him. Authority to make war for 42 months was given to him. So he had the authority, which he has now, to make war for, what did I say? A mouth speaking great things and blasphemy was given to him. Authority, here it goes. Authority to make war for 42 months was given to him. 42 months, we're talking about 3.5 years again. So 3.5 years. Now, we're not talking about marriage this time. We're talking about, let's say, Trump, the president. 3.5 years was given to him, the authority. So he won't have authority beyond 3.5 years. All right? Authority to make war for 42 months was given to him. 3.5 years. He opened his mouth for blasphemy against God. I told you about that. To blaspheme his name, his dwelling, and those who dwell in heaven. So those who live in heaven, the angels, and the godly spirits. It was given to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, those of us who are following God and his commandments. Authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation was given to him. All who live on earth will worship him. Everyone whose name has not been written from the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who has been killed. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. So we're looking at all who live on the earth will worship him. So be careful. That's a prophecy. Everyone whose name has not been written from the beginning of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who has been killed. So Jesus has a book of life. And if your name was not written in the book of life at the beginning of the earth, beginning of the world, God knows who's going to be here. And God knows everybody. God knows everybody who's going to be born. He already knows your name. So if your name has not been written in this book of life of Jesus the Christ, then you are among those who will have the mark. If your name has not been written. So all who live on the earth will worship him, everyone whose name has not been written from the foundation of the world of the book of life of the Lamb who has been killed, which is Jesus the Christ. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. If anyone is to go into captivity, he will go into captivity. If anyone is to be killed with a sword, he must be killed. So if you go into captivity, go into bondage, if you are to go into captivity, that's going to happen to you. What's going to happen is going to happen for those whose name is not written in the book of life. So if anyone is to go into captivity, he will go into captivity. If anyone is to be killed with a sword, he must be killed. Here is the endurance and the faith of the saints. All right, here we go. I saw another beast. Now another one. Now we talk about the Satan being the dragon, the president being the beast, or one of the beasts, or one of the heads of the beast. And now here comes another beast. Now, watch this. I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. Now, the first beast came out of the sea, which is the system itself, of the government. Now we have the system coming out of and then we have the beast coming up from the earth. It said, I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, coming up among the people. It's a man, not the sea of people, not the multitude of people, but coming up from the earth, which is now we're narrowing it down to a place now. All right? And the individual as well. So, he makes the earth. He had, I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. He had two horns. So the two horns, again, horns of people of authority, lesser authority. He had two horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. So he spoke the words of Satan. He believed Satan. He spoke Satan. He acted like Satan. He exercised all the authority of the first beast in his presence. Okay, so the lesser king is the same as the former king. All right. He exercised all the authority of the first beast in his presence. He makes the earth and those who live in it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed. Okay, so let's say Trump, and another beast. Let's say the other beast is Vance. All right, so Vance is telling you to worship Trump. Vance is telling you to worship Trump. All right, so because he is going the same way Trump is, or maybe even worse. So he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, in the presence of Trump, so Trump can see it. He makes the earth and those who live in it to worship the first beast, which is Trump, whose fatal wound was healed. That was Trump's wound. He came back to be president again after he lost. He performs great signs, even making fire come down out of the sky. So fire coming down out of the sky is a miracle. It would have been a miracle back then, but simply means that it could be planes, fighter jets, shooting bombs down, fire coming down from the sky, like the fire that was killing those people on those boats, and it showed on TV the fire coming down and destroying the boats, like that. So he makes the earth and those who live in it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed. So remember, I said the fatal wound was healed. Fatal wound is like, as I said before, Trump had the election, but he lost it the next time. So that was a fatal wound. But even though it was fatal, it was healed. It was healed because he became president again. Okay? He performs great signs, even making fire come down out of the sky to the earth in the sight of people, for everybody to see. It was on the news. He deceives my own people. He deceives my own people. This is John talking. Who dwell, his seed. His seed. So my people, my seed, my DNA is in those people. He deceives my own people who live on the earth because of the signs he was granted to do in front of the beast, saying to those who live on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, who had the sword, wound, and live. So to make an image of the beast. Wow, isn't that something? It was given to him to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So let's say Trump's image, however formed the image may be, that image was able to, or had the mechanisms to speak. Or let's say, you know how they're doing robots and stuff now, and so forth, or on TV. It's not you, it's the image is you, but we're saying, the image. And so the image is speaking, and if you did not worship the image, his image could be on a coin or something. That speaks to you, because you want the money. And in other words, he causes all, the small and the great, the rich and the poor, and the free and the slave, to be given marks on their right hands, or on their foreheads, and that no one will be able to buy or to sell unless he has the mark, has that mark. I'll read again. He causes all, the small and the great, the rich and the poor, and the free and the slave, to be given marks on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one would be able to buy or to sell unless he has the mark, has that mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is the wisdom. He who has understanding, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. It's the number of a man. His number is 666. So that's 666. And it is a man, the number of a man. And you have to, if you are not worshiping the image of that man, not even the man himself, the image of the man, you will be killed. Now this is verse 13 that I was reading. I'll be back to read 14.